Hi, I'm Rose with Carolina Hoofbeats TV, and today we caught up with Brian Boom. And Brian is actually a bronc rider from Kinston, North Carolina. And as you guys know, I've not ever covered anything about bronc riding, but it's always been a subject that fascinated me. So Brian, tell us a little bit about your horse experience, not bronc riding.
I've trained horses ever since I was little. My family started a ranch in Castelia, North Carolina, when my mom took a job up there. We had 13.3 acres and had about 15 horses. I trained my first horse when I was 6 years old with a 2-year-old filly named April.
Wow. And then you've been riding ever since?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and how did you decide to get into rodeo?
The movie 8 Seconds with Lane Frost.
Yeah, that
would
would inspire.
you that.
Yeah.
It is.
That's a really good one.
Yes, ma'am, it is. I've watched it since the day I was born thereabout, and I always wanted to be a bull rider.
So you rode bulls first?
Yes, ma'am. I started riding bulls, and then I would do side jackpots with barrel racing with a good friend of mine. And then last year in Newport, North Carolina, Strawberry Pruitt come to me and asked me to get on a bucking horse for him. And I did, and I won the rodeo, and it went off from there.
Now, how does a bucking horse compare to a bucking bull?
A bucking bull will chase you whenever you get off. 9 times out of 10, a horse won't.
That's a good point.
That's one thing on the bull side. On the horse side, the horse won't chase after you, obviously. And the disadvantage about it is when you buck off a horse, you can get hurt easier. I always told my friends and family when they asked me, a bucking bull when you ride is nothing but a bull dance or a dance.
Okay.
Bucking horses is a boxing match. You always want to go with the horse, be with the same rhythm, and you can work it a whole lot better.
Now, do you study your broncs that you're going to ride to see how they move and what their common things are, or
some people do? I don't. If I draw the meanest horse out there, I'm gonna take my shot at it.
Okay.
You never know what's gonna happen.
Right.
A lot of people do a lot of training with practice pins, get on bucking horses every Sunday or once a week. And it's around here in North Carolina, we don't have a whole lot of them.
Right.
We have more bull practice pins than we do have broncs.
Right. That's true.
The rural American lifestyle. It's how we work, and it's how we play. It's how we learn and how we enjoy the finer things in life. How we take care of our animals and tend to the land. It's a way of life. Has been for hundreds of years. Now there's a whole new way for rural America to watch TV.
What do you think makes a good bronking horse?
As in, what do we use to buck them, or?
Well, I know that they're bred to buck, like Hancock's notoriously bucking horses,
Yes,
and I would assume that there are other breeds out there that are too.
I don't know them, but there are some. A lot of people use horses that ain't papered, as a lot of people in the horse world knows. You can get bucking horses at rough stock events or rough stock yards. They sell them. Those, we don't have a whole lot of those around here either. A lot of them are out west with the bigger rodeo associations and everything else.
Right.
As typically everybody knows, they got Facebook. A lot of people post them for sale on Facebook and get them shipped here or shipped all around the world.
Right. And bucking horses are athletes, just like a cutting horse or any other kind.
Yes.
And so consequently they're treated very well.
Yes, ma'am.
A lot of folks think that they're mistreated. That's why they buck, but not at all.
Not at all. A lot of people think that bulls and horses are treated very wrong for us riding them. But they have to understand that the horse loves what they do as well as the bull.
I know that the bucking horses that I have a friend in Montana that raises bucking stock, and that's all he raises. And everything there just loves to buck.
Yes,
and they'll never make a riding horse because they want to buck.
Exactly.
So,
that's what they're made for.
Right.
I've seen many times I'll be in South Carolina at Strawberry Pruitt's place, and we'll be out there just messing with the horses and put them in and turn them out of the bucking chutes to make them learn to stand still so they're not hurting the riders.
Right.
Because they're not out there to hurt
No.
anybody. They're out there to have a good time just like us riders are.
Right.
And we'll turn them out and they'll go to bucking without a flank strap on.
Yep.
So they definitely love what they do, and I can guarantee you that a stock contractor will feed his animals before he feeds himself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about your experience as a bronc rider. What does it feel like to get on one?
Adrenaline rush.
I bet.
It is. And really, that's the only reason I do it. I am an adrenaline junkie. But as a lot of people say, it's very fun. I enjoy it. I always have. Ever since I got on bulls, my first time, I enjoyed it. And you always take the chance of getting hurt. It's not about if you get hurt, it's when and how bad.
Right. Is it an 8-second ride like a bull?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
And if you stay on him, does the pickup guy come and get you, or how does?
Yes, ma'am. Normally what happens is when you nod your head, you have 8 seconds to ride your animal, either it be a bull or a horse. And normally the pickup guys, once they hear that buzzer, they'll be right beside you, and you and the pickup man will sit there and carry on a conversation about your hand being loose or how long you got, what do you need me to do. They'll pop the flank strap in that process as well, so it might calm the horse down a little bit.
Right.
And then you have to wiggle your hand out of the rigging, and then when they get close to you, you just wrap your arms around the pickup man and hop over.
There's no quick dismount.
There is. But normally on
The unintentional ones.
on a quick dismount, you haven't made the 8 seconds.
Right.
If you can make it to 4 or 5, you have it.
Okay. And tell me the difference between bareback bronc riding and saddle bronc riding.
I have done saddle bronc one time in West Virginia. It is a complete different ball game. On bareback riding, you're wanting to stroke your horse above the shoulders. On saddle bronc, your chaps have rosin, like bull riding, that stick to the saddle.
Okay.
And that's an advantage with that. But with saddle bronc riding, you still have your mark out where spur rowels have to be above the shoulder. And you typically want to keep them there 2 jumps before you start spurring.
Okay.
But with that, you spur down.
Like back toward the girth.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And of course, instead of having your hand in a rigging on bareback riding, you have a lead rope.
Okay. Like a night latch kind of thing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Let our family business create family adventures here at K&M Trailer Sales.
Mike Smith with K&M Trailer Sales, conveniently located right off Highway 152 in Rockwell, North Carolina. Come see me, I'm sure I got a trailer for you.
Hey, I'm Jim Thomas with RT Horsemanship, and I'd like to take a moment, and Sandy as well, would like to invite you to Everything Equine on the 23rd through 25th of August. It's a great opportunity to come down and see some of the most fantastic clinicians, demonstrations, and also a colt starting challenge. So there'll be so much to see. There's a farrier challenge going on that weekend, so you can pit your farrier against some of the local farriers in North Carolina. We might even have a farrier or two coming in from other states. But we'd just like to invite you to come down, spend some time with us again on the 23rd through 25th of August, and spend a little horse time with us at Everything Equine.
Well, show us your rigging and how that works. This is for the bareback bronc riding, right?
Yes, ma'am. Here's my rigging. And as you can see, we wear gloves just like bull riders. The difference in a bull glove and a bareback glove is we have a notch right here at the end of our pinky.
Can you get a close up of that?
We put our glove on the same way, if we're left-handed or right-handed. They do have different glove sizes and everything else. You want a snug fit on your glove, and then you'll tie it. A lot of people tape them and tie them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll come in here, put your pinky in first where the knot is, and work your hand in there.
So the object is that handle thing is littler than your hand.
Yes, ma'am. The handle is smaller than your hand and glove to make it a snug fit.
Okay.
And they do that because whenever you bronc ride, it's a whole lot easier to have your hand blown out of your rigging than it is when you're bull riding and your hand blown out of a rope.
Okay.
So I'll put my hand in like that, and I'll close it the best I can, and bind my hand where the top part of my knuckles are flush with the rigging.
Okay.
And it's a tight squeeze. And that's how that works, where the knot is binded up down here so your hand can't just come out. So you'll
I
ride.
see. So that this little nub holds it in.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you turn it around a little bit so the viewers can kind of see? So it's almost like a hook.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And you'll get your feet right above the shoulder, make your mark out, you'll nod your head. 8 seconds, you hear the buzzer, or if you don't hear the buzzer, the pickup man will come let you know. You'll pull yourself up right here, take your opposite hand and put on your rigging, open your hand, and just sit here and work your hand out. And then you'll hold on to it with either hand, depending on what side the pickup man is on,
Right.
and then turn and go over.
So when you're on him riding, you're almost laying down, aren't you?
Yes, ma'am. That is the objective, to lay down and just go with the rhythm of the horse. When he bucks, you buck.
Okay.
And just make sure you keep spurting. That's how you get your points. And anybody, I say anybody, but a lot of times everybody's like, well, you got 8 seconds, you won the rodeo, you won the bronc ride, or you won the bull ride or saddle bronc ride. That's not the case. In this sport, we go for points. And that's how we crown the queen and king of rodeo sport at the finals.
Right.
The person with the most points. But you're judged, the horse and the cowboy is judged on a scale of 1 to 25.
Okay.
And that brings out your points.
So the roughest bucking horse, you'll make more points if you're able to ride him,
Yes, ma'am.
because it'll make you use more skills.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the idea. Okay. Very nice. Now, what's your scariest moment?
I stayed late Waccamaw last year for the SRA. I had gotten on what we call in the bronc riding world is a pin runner. They don't do a whole lot of bucking. They're easier to get a qualified ride on. And I was on them, and I didn't hear the buzzer yet, but my weight shifted as the horse turned. And when it did, my hand come out, and I near about passed the horse on him, and when I went, I slid up under the round pin panels.
Oh, Lord.
And I thought it was pretty scary.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see them coming. I'd much rather see the dirt.
Yes, ma'am.
For sure.
And then there was another ride this past year in Kenansville with the American Rough Stock Association on Friday night, because it was a 2-day event. I had got a bucking horse, J05 is what his name was, and I had a qualified ride on him. And whenever he come around the pin, there was a panel in front of us. And before I could get a pickup man to me or anything, my hand had blown out. And whenever I went, I actually caught myself on the panel before my head hit him. I had to sit there and take a breath on that video.
I would imagine.
Yes, ma'am.
Definitely. And what's your proudest moment?
Winning that rodeo. I was the only cowboy to cover all weekend.
Nice.
So that was pretty exciting.
Hi there, I'm Amanda Thompson from Lake Waccamaw, North Carolina, Boys and Girls Home. We would like to invite you to our second annual rodeo, August 15th, 16th, 17th. Gates open at 6 p.m. Rodeo starts at 8 p.m. and we will be featuring events such as steer wrestling, breakaway roping, barrel racing, bronc riding, bull riding, and we will have plenty of food vendors here as well as merchandise vendors. The total event lasts about 2 hours, and tickets will be available at the gate. For more information, visit our Facebook page, B&GH Farm and Exhibition Center, and we'll be posting more updates there.
So how long do you see yourself riding broncs?
For a good while. I really enjoy it, and I want to make a career out of it,
When you retire, you're going to raise them?
more than likely.
I would.
Yeah. If
Right.
everything works out in my favor, that yes, ma'am, I will have a bucking stock ranch.
I hope so. I hope it's close by so we can visit.
We don't have a whole lot around here, so that's the
Yeah.
objective.
I think that would be good. I think more people would do it if there was more access to it.
Yes, ma'am, for sure. I do a lot with the kids. I try to get them into entertained in it. At the end of a lot of our shows, they will have an autograph session, and the kids will come up and take pictures, ask us questions, and it's really enjoyable.
That is cool. So what else do you do for fun?
Well, I'm also a volunteer fireman.
That's awesome.
Yes, ma'am, with Thurford Fire Department in Wayne County. I'm a probationary firefighter at this time for my year probation period, and then the fire department itself will vote on me, and if they want me on, then I'll become a full-time firefighter
Awesome.
as a volunteer.
Did you have to go through a lot of training for that?
Yes, ma'am, there are classes that you have to take to be able to go interior of a burning building. That is the case. You just can't send anybody out there.
Right.
There's certain things you need to know about how fire works, its behavior, how to rescue another firefighter down, control your breathing, and the SCBA packs. There's a whole lot to it. It's just not fun and games.
I know. I think that's something that you have a call in for.
Yes, ma'am.
I can see why you'd want to do that.
It's another adrenaline rush.
Yes, it is. And you're helping people.
Yes, ma'am.
Very nice. So do you have other horses at home? Are you going to do different things with your riding?
We do have horses. We ride a lot. We do a lot of trail riding. Me and a buddy of mine are talking about getting into cow sorting.
Nice.
So we look forward to that and learning from experience on that as well.
Right.
About like bronc riding, there's not a whole lot of places around here to practice.
Yeah.
And being my first bronc was in a rodeo, and that's all the practice I've had is rodeos.
Right.
I never know what horse I'm getting on until I'm right there time to get on it, and I don't know what they're going to do.
Well, that's exciting. What an exciting career.
Yes, ma'am.
Any advice for young people that might want to get into bronc riding? Are there girls that bronc ride?
Yes, ma'am, there are girls. They're more out west. I haven't seen any around our region. But just like with bull riding, females can ride them too.
I know Jordan Halverson rides
Yes, ma'am.
bulls, but
She's a real good friend of mine.
yeah.
We actually do a lot of practicing together at Shady Acres and Hope Mills whenever I was
Yeah.
riding bulls.
Yeah, Edward Gushlaw, a good friend of ours too.
Yes, ma'am. Edward's a good guy.
That he is. That he is.
But for the kids that want to get into it, follow your dreams. And don't let anybody shut you down. It doesn't matter if they say you can't do it, show them wrong, because anything can happen.
That's good advice.
Thank you.
That's very good advice. Well, thank you for spending time with us this afternoon.
problem.
It's been a really interesting conversation, and I look forward to seeing you ride. I'll catch you in August at Cavietta Quarter Horse.
Yes, ma'am. We will be doing ranch bronc riding.
That'll be fun.
It'll be a nice little ranch rodeo. So if any of y'all are interested in going to that, it'll be August 17th at Cavietta Ranch in Elm City, North Carolina.
Very nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jesse Chase of Jesse Chase Performance Horses in Wendell, North Carolina, and I'm proud to feed Mule City Feeds. Mule City was first recommended to me by a vet who felt that I would benefit from a custom mitt. Overall, I've been thrilled with the customer service at Mule City Feed, the quality of products that they use, and how my horses have looked and performed since making that change. So stop by today and check out Paul Dunn at Mule City Feeds.
Hi, my name is Charles Ramsey from Lost Creek Cattle Company. This is one of our stallions we use. His name's Hairpin Blue Checks. We heel on him. We rope calves on him. We do mounted shooting on him. We raised about 35 colts off of him a year. He's a great individual, good-minded. He can go any direction. Probably bring you 6 colts. I'm gonna try to match them up best I can where you'll have a good group of horses to start with. Whatever you're looking for, we probably have him. If you buy anything off this course right here, he's gonna be good-minded and sure enough have the ability to do what anybody wants to do.
we think about braiding, I would say braiding is probably the #1 indicator of how well you've groomed your horse and how experienced you are at it. So the judge is going to see your braids. There's a lot of little things you might get away with, like dirty spur straps if you wear spurs, or a little bit of untidy hair, or raggedy stirrup pads, which I always recommend you keep one set of stirrup pads for shows, by the way. Those you might get away with, but the braids, you're not going to get away with having crummy braids. So it's super important that your mane is consistently thinned and pulled at home. That's your regular maintenance, right? That makes your braids all the same size. Now for dressage horses, it's much different than a lot of other disciplines. We have kind of big fat braids, and generally you're going to range somewhere in that 8 to 11 number of braids per horse's neck, right? Some things to think about. Please make sure you don't pull your mane too short, right? Just like with the clipping, it's always better to go conservative. You can always take off more hair. You cannot put more hair back on, okay? So really think about that. Make sure your mane's long enough. I would say at least a hand's width. You're looking somewhere in that 4, probably 5-inch range for me to get a mane braided. If you have a horse with a super thin mane, you might choose to make that mane a little bit longer. A super thick mane, you might get away with a little bit shorter, but it's always better to go conservative. And trust me, I know from experience, I've made that mistake of trying to braid a horse I've pulled the mane too short. Not something that you want to do, okay? So 8 to 11 braids is the average, and you're going to have a pretty long mane, and you're going to have what we call button braids, and we'll talk about that just a little bit more in a minute. But some things that you can use. I personally use water, but a lot of people use quick braid, especially if you have a lot of little spikies coming out of your horse's mane. You've washed your horse, you've gotten the mane very clean, the bridle paths very clean, the forelocks very clean, and sometimes quick braid can help dirty it up a little bit so it sticks and stays a little bit better than water. The problem with quick braid is if you don't have a dust cover for your horse and it's in a stall with shavings, then sometimes quick braid can attract dust and things like that. So you want to consider all of those factors, okay? You're going to want some hair clips. I just use this little cheap one, from the drugstore or Walmart. I sew my braids in. I think they look the best, but people are very talented in many different ways. I do not recommend rubber bands for recognized shows, okay? I would either sew it or I would use yarn, but I like wax thread. I order this. It's like wax thread that they use to sew shoes with, and the reason that I like the wax is it sticks and it stays better. It's not likely to slip, and you're going to want to have a bunch of these needles. You can lose them in a minute. And on top of that, if you've got a lot of horses to braid, then what you might want to do is measure out your thread ahead of time and thread a bunch of needles, 8, 10, 12, whatever your horse uses, right? So that these are ready. So you don't have to braid and then slip the thread through the needle every time. Go ahead and have them pre-threaded unless you've got a ton of time. Now this is also where your daily care and practice and maintenance at home comes in. Practice, practice, practice at home. Know how long it takes you to the minute. Know how long your thread needs to be. Know how many needles you have. Know what color thread goes good in your horse's mane. All these things are important. When I go to the horse show, I know 45 minutes is what I need to braid. I'll schedule 50, but I've been doing it a long time, right? So I'm going to show you in a little while a really easy way to make beautiful button braids that's super quick. But you're going to want to practice this at home. You're going to want to practice this at home. Really important. You're going to want a comb, and I like a comb that's wide enough that I can say that's how wide. I can take my finger and pick a little spot and say that's how wide every braid's going to be when I'm measuring the mane, and I clip off the rest of it. And this is also a Lucky Braids product. And I absolutely adore this. I don't use the pull through anymore because I don't do yarn braids, but these around your neck so that you can snip, snip and let it go are fantastic, okay? That brings me to another point, and that is you want to make sure that you have hair only scissors, okay? These are hair only scissors. It says it, I've written it, and I dare anybody who works with me to use them on anything else. And then these I use for thread so that I don't dull my hair only scissors. So those are things that you definitely want to think about. After you get done braiding, you want to make sure and use a dust cover with a hood if you can. It helps the hair lay down nice, it protects the braids, And one thing that you also want to think about, if you use stall guards in the front of your stalls, which we do at the horse show so they can stick their head out, they very often will rub their braids out on the door. So you want to be ready for that, and you might just want to close your stall door after you get braided until your class is over. Now, at the end of your class, you're going to want to remove your braids, okay? Because a lot of people leave them in overnight, and just know you risk two things. Getting up in the morning, it's a mess and you have to redo it when you weren't expecting to. But the other thing is, if they find something to rub against and they try to rub those braids out, they might tear their whole mane out in the process. So it's more comfortable for your horse, and remember, his comfort should be first in all of these things. It's more comfortable for your horse for you to take the braids out, and it's less risky for you. Now, one thing that I didn't touch on is breeds like Lusitanos and Friesians and horses with long manes, okay? So in the dressage world, what we're gonna do with those is we're gonna do like a running braid or a French braid, and that is totally acceptable, but again, something you wanna practice at home and make sure that you can do better than adequate, right? Because your braids are your calling card. They really show your horse's neck off, and they show your skill level. So this is something that you wanna make sure that you get right.
From Ritter Golf Pro Horse Shoeing Services. We want to invite everybody to the expo on August 24th. We're having a big farrier competition there on shoemaking. We're going to have Tom Saunders, a certified journeyman from Alabama, as the judge. He's also a certified tester for the American Farriers Association. So we're going to have some serious competition and a lot of fun. We're going to have 3 divisions: novice, intermediate, and open. See how a horse shoe should be properly made and fitted. We're looking forward to seeing you.
Hi, I'm Carly Willis, and I would like to invite you to come out to the Everything Equine Expo, August 23rd through the 25th in Lumberton, North Carolina. I fell in love with Mustangs after watching the movie Wild Horse, Wild Ride. And I saw it and I was like, I really like to do that one day when I'm an adult competitor. Then I found out about the youth division in the Extreme Mustang Makeover. In 2017, I applied to compete for the first time. I fell in love after my first round at the makeover, and I've been doing it ever since. This year I just completed my 4th Extreme Mustang Makeover, which was in Lexington, Kentucky, and me and my mare finished 4th overall. It was an experience to remember, and I'm so excited for next year and the more experiences I'll have. Come to Lumberton to see our demo and learn more about the American Mustang.